Hi friends, I thought I would put together this guide on how to use the Spitfire in Apex Legends Season 8. Now the Spitfire is one of the strongest weapons in the game this season after a really strong damage buff in the Season 8 update. Now even though the damage buff was only by 1 damage point, increasing it from 18 to 19 damage per shot, it still makes a huge difference because the Spitfire has a huge mag, so just 1 damage increase really does make a difference. Let's start by looking at some facts about the Spitfire, and then I'll give you some tips on how you can improve the way you use the Spitfire. Starting with the basics, the Spitfire is a heavy LMG that actually does the most damage out of any LMG in its class. It does 38 head damage, 19 body shot damage, and 14 leg shot damage. Now if you compare this to the other weapons in its class, where you've got the Devotion and the L-Star, it does 1 more damage than the L-Star, but 3 more damage per bullet than the Devotion. So you can see here, just based on damage alone, the Spitfire comes out top. One of the best things about the Spitfire is the magazine size. Even base magazine is about 35, which is a lot of bullets for a base magazine. But if you get a purple mag or even a gold, this will increase you up to 55 bullets. And it's actually the most bullets in one mag out of any weapon in the game. And essentially what this means is that the Spitfire has the highest damage per mag out of any weapon in the game purely because of this damage buff in Season 8. And if you look at the top 5 weapons for body damage per base magazine, you can see the Spitfire has the highest damage output for one single magazine, even beating the likes of Peacekeeper, the Mastiff and the Kraber, all of which output a ton of damage for a body shot. Now to give this even more context and show how strong the Spitfire really is this season, if we look at a normal legend with red Evo armor, it takes about 12 bullets to down them with the Spitfire. This means even if you have a level 1 mag with 40 bullets, you can down an entire squad of 3 in 1 mag, purely with body shots. If we compare this to supposedly the best weapon in the game at the moment in Season 8, the R99, it takes 21 bullets with the R99 to down a normal legend with a red Evo shield. And if you think about an R99 with a level 1 extended mag, this means you can really only down one legend that has a red Evo shield per magazine. And if you compare that to the Spitfire, you can start to see the difference in terms of damage per magazine. Now of course there are other benefits to using the R99, such as the ADS movement speed, the DPS, the faster fire rate and the faster reload speed, but it's still an interesting comparison to make. Anyway, those are just some facts to help you decide if you want to use the Spitfire. Now let's look at some tips on how you can improve the way you use the Spitfire. Tip 1. Try not to reload too early. As in my example, it shows you can down a whole team with a level 1 extended heavy mag on the Spitfire. Also take into account the fact that they nerfed the reload speed of the Spitfire this season, which takes it from 3.2 seconds or 3.8 seconds, depending if your magazine is empty or not, which is a lot more compared to what it previously was at 2.8 seconds or 3.3 seconds respectively. And of course, this is a lot of time considering the fire rate of most weapons in the game, meaning the 3 seconds it takes you to reload could easily be enough time for an enemy to down you. Therefore, try and manage your magazine and don't reload too early. Like I said, if you've got 12 bullets in the magazine, even though it means you've used up more than half your magazine, it's more than enough to down an enemy, so try and remember that when you've got the Spitfire. Tip 2. Use your Spitfire as your primary. I say this because the Spitfire has a really slow weapon switch speed. Of course grabbing the stock can help you with this, but realistically, if you're in the middle of a fight, you want to be starting with the Spitfire and swapping to a weapon that's faster switching, kind of like an R99 or a Volt, or maybe even one of the handguns. What you don't want to be doing is starting with a faster weapon like an R99 or Volt, and then having to switch to the Spitfire mid-battle, because it will be a lot slower than your opponent, especially if your opponent has a fast switch weapon like an R99 or a Volt. So keep this in mind when you're going into battle. Maybe lead with your Spitfire and have a faster switch as your secondary. Tip 3. Hipfire, don't ADS when you're up close. The Spitfire, like most LMGs, really slows down your movement when you ADS. This means you won't be able to strafe too much in a close-up fight, and if you come up against an R99 or a Volt, they're likely to be moving a lot faster than you are if you're ADSing with a Spitfire, and that's why when you're up close, in a face-to-face situation, you really want to start hip-firing. Now the Spitfire actually has a wide bullet spread, that means you can miss a bunch of bullets if you're not ADSing. So the best way to counteract this I've found is actually to hip-fire and get closer to the opponent as you're doing it. And you're going to have to fight your instincts to back away. Just keep moving towards your opponent when you're hip-firing with the Spitfire, and it should help you hit more shots. And another way to increase movement is actually to crouch spam as you're shooting the Spitfire. And this is a way where you can ADS with the Spitfire if you crouch spam as you shoot it. And these should definitely help you get around the slow movement that you'll have when you're ADSing with the Spitfire. Tip 4. Use the Spitfire at range. You get a 2x headshot multiplier up to 64 meters away, which is actually a very decent distance for a weapon in Apex Legends, so you can use the Spitfire like a mid to long range weapon and do some decent damage with it. Also, while the ADS movement speed is slow in an up close fight, it's actually not too bad when you're fighting at distance, so it should allow you to move a little bit and avoid some shots while you're hitting people at mid to long range. So therefore, think about using the Spitfire as a mid to long range weapon. And tip 5, my final tip, is actually a simple one. Pick up some sights. Now the iron sights on pretty much all of the Spitfire skins aren't great. They do kind of obstruct your view. So I would strongly suggest a 3x or a 2x4x scope for the Spitfire to help with those mid to long range fights, because you probably won't be ADSing while you're hip firing anyway, so it's not a bad idea to have a more zoomed in scope. But likewise, if you don't have any scope, then try and pick up even a 1x, because it will help you while you're ADSing. And that's it, just a few simple tips and facts on how to use the Spitfire in Apex Legends Season 8. I hope they help you get better with the Spitfire, and in turn, help you win more games in Apex Legends Season 8. For now though, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later.